Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be doing a little bronzer collection. I have every bronzer in front of me that I own, whether it's cream, powder or liquid. So this is a bit of a sneak peek to what is coming up. I'm just going to walk through each of these products individually and talk about them and what I think of them, maybe give some swatches. I love watching videos like this, so I hope you do enjoy too. Okay, let's just... I'm going to first go in with liquid products. So here is the Body Shop Drops of Sun Holiday Glow Creator. Now this is a really interesting product and I've been using it a lot in summer. This is sort of a product that you could mix into your foundation if you do think it's too light for you. You could also put it over your whole face if you need to match your face to your body, maybe if you fake tanned or you have a tan. And it also looks really nice just in the normal places you bronze. Personally, what I have used this for is to match my face to my body because I just have a really pale face compared to my body. So this is a really great product for that, and it is perfect sort of color for me at the moment. There is only one shade and I don't really agree with that. I think there should be more shades. I'll show you how it looks. It is very dark, as you can see, but as you sheer it out, it has this really sort of reddy undertone, which goes really nice with any tan products. And if I just blend it out more and more, it just starts to look like maybe like a fake tan or something. It just looks like skin. It is very lightweight and just gives that sort of oomph that sometimes I will need in summer. Great name for it, definitely a holiday glow creator. I've been really loving this at the moment. They just desperately need to come out with more shades for people who have deeper skin tones, because I don't know how this would work if you have a deeper skin tone than me. And while we're talking about liquid products, I have this one from Revolution. It's the Super Dewy Liquid Bronze, and I have this in the shade Fair to Light. It's a cute little bottle, very lightweight and travel friendly, and a good nozzle. I'll show you how this looks. It is sort of on the cool tone side and I think would match me really well maybe in winter. It is very creamy feeling and easy to sort of blend out. I haven't experimented with it much. I have used the blush formula a decent amount, which is why I went on and bought this bronzer. And I do really like the blush formula. I find that it wears really nicely and it just applies on top of my other products really well. So that's how I've been feeling about this. It just has this sort of velvety finish once it's dried down, and it's got no shimmer or anything in it. It just sort of gives you a nice bronze. But yeah, I have been enjoying that. It's just not the right shade for me at the moment. As winter comes around, I do see myself reaching for that more. Next, I'm going to move on to the two Fenty bronzers. So I do have the cream and the powder one. Let's start with the cream one first. I have this in the shade 02 Butter Biscuit, and the one before this is sort of a much cooler contour shade. But to be honest, I do think that this shade is still quite cool if you have warm undertones to your skin. I wouldn't call it complete bronzing. For example, if I put it, this looks way more orange and warm than the Fenty one. So this is a really nice, thin and creamy bronzer. I do find it best to apply it with a dense brush, something like the Real Techniques Expert Face, I want to say. That one is really nice with this. I find the denser the brush, the better for this product. It does apply very evenly, very smooth. I do just enjoy this. If I swatch it, you can see the shade there. It does have cool undertones, but I think a lot of things look cool on me just because I do have sort of, although I'm pale, olive toned skin. So things do seem to be quite cool a lot of the time. But yep, that's 02 Butter Biscuit. Now onto the powder version, which I have in 02 Shady Biz. This does look a lot more warm in comparison. So in my opinion, you would use this one to contour and maybe this one to bronze if you do have a warmer skin tone. They do cooler versions, so if you don't have warm skin tone, you can still cool and bronze with some different shades. This powder is just a matte powder. It's very smooth and easy to apply. I would say it's like medium pigmentation. You do need to tap in a few times, but that then means it is a buildable product, which I find can be really nice with bronzer because you don't want to just tap in once and have a big muddy streak on your face. So I'd say this is quite buildable. So let me swatch. At the moment, you may notice that a lot of these bronzers may look a little bit light for me because have a tan. When I go back to being pale in like a month, you'll see that these will all match. But I think this is a good example of how much warmer this one looks than this one. This is a lot more neutral. Overall, they are really quality products, and I would recommend them to people if they're just looking for something to bronze. Nothing too spectacular or different. They're just a matte bronzer and a cream bronzer that will do the job. The next one I'm going to take is the Huda Beauty GloWish Soft Radiance Bronzing Powder. I have this in medium, and it is this really gorgeous marble bronzer. This is one of my favorites at the moment. I think it's so simple to apply, and it just looks so beautiful and healthy on the skin without looking like a shimmery disco ball. One thing I would say is go deeper with the shades than you expect. This is medium for me at the moment, and this probably doesn't match me. Like, I'm really trying to build that up, and it is beautiful for me when I'm pale, but right now you just can't see it. In comparison to the Fenty one, it does just have a sort of healthy glow, and it isn't so warm toned. I do think they differ depending on the shade, the Huda ones. But yeah, I find these blend out beautifully and just give you such a lovely radiance. So I really recommend this one at the moment. But yes, my one tip is go a shade darker than you think. I would never place myself as a medium shade when I'm pale. I'm definitely more like a fair light, but here we are. The medium shade doesn't even suit me at the moment, and yeah. Next, let's have a look at the Vive Modern Bronzer Bronzing Duo. So I have this in light. I love this packaging, and it does just feel really luxurious. These are also refillable as well, so that is really nice. I like this as well because you do get your cooler shade and your warmer shade, which is great for balancing out contour and bronzer, and it's a great all-in-one product if you need it. I do find these really pigmented, especially the deeper shade. They are matte and they do blend really nicely, and I think they do just look very smooth. Let me swatch both of them. When swatching them in comparison to these other powders, they do have a subtle sheen, which I have actually not noticed, and that's probably why they look very healthy on your skin. There is definitely a sheen in there. As you can see, this warmer shade is probably the most orangey terracotta than all of them. I do love a sort of terracotta shade in summer, so this has been what I'm going for, but this is then perfect in winter. So this is a great palette for me all year round. I will find myself swapping between the two. This is a product then that would always stay in my collection and in my easy to grab sort of area, because I just see myself reaching for it all year round. I do find I swap out bronzers a lot throughout the year depending on the season. Okay, the Charlotte Tilbury Filmstar Bronze and Glow Face Sculpt and Highlights. So this is the light shade as well, and as you can see, it does have a highlight, but we're only going to talk about the contour shade. Great contour shade for fair skin. And this is a really good name for this palette because I will only really wear this if I'm very fair. This sculpting shade really gives me that Marilyn Monroe film star. Normally I will go in and heavily bronze my face, but if I use just this, I do feel like a 50s film star. It is crazy, and this packaging is to die for. But yeah, here it is. It's a lovely cool shade and definitely has a sheen running through it, a bit like the Vive ones. It kind of compares a lot to the lighter shade of the Vive palette, I think. But they do a deeper version of this, and I would say only buy this shade if you are very pale, fair, light, because this will then be too light for you, otherwise it won't show up. Jumping from Charlotte Tilbury to Physicians Formula, this is their Butta bronzer. This is the cult classic. This is my second one. I did completely use up one before when it was the older packaging. Oh, it smells so good. If you've never smelled one, very like tropical, coconutty holiday smell. So I do just have this in the shade bronzer. This is smooth as butter when you run your finger through it. All the others felt smooth, but this feels like butter. It almost feels like a cream, how smooth it feels. This is such a great affordable bronzer. I used to use this every day when I went to school. This was something I always had to have in my collection, and when it came to the UK, I was so happy because I did buy my first one in America. There's the shade. Sorry, it's not that great because my arm's so tanned at the moment, but it is a little bit on the warmer side, still a bit of a bronzer, and it does have a slight sheen. It's not completely matte. It doesn't have glitter or anything in it. It just gives you sort of a healthy glow. I think I'm just going to go through the powder products I have so they can all be swatched next to each other, and then I'll just go back in with some cream. So Dior Forever Natural Bronze in 02 Light Bronze. This is stunning. Honestly, this makes my skin just look so smooth and healthy, and it feels as smooth as the Physicians Formula, which is very good on the Physicians Formula for them to be comparable to a Dior bronzer, but it is just lovely. Once again, it is very light for me at the moment, and I would say that one also does have a slight sheen, so do bear that in mind, but it does look almost matte when you do apply it. But it's smooth, it's buttery, it blends beautifully. Great product. If you do like to be properly bronzed, I would look out to see getting a deeper shade. This doesn't match me at the moment, and it is sort of fair when it's the second shade. A lot of things do match me at the second shade. I would actually say right now my arm is the lightest one here. So if you do have really fair skin, that might be a really good alternative because it's not even the lightest shade. So here is the Kiko Lost in Amalfi Baked Bronzer in 01 Warm Melange. If you like a shimmery bronzer, you will love this. Beautiful at giving you just a glow from within. It smells really nice as well. I can't even put my finger on what that is. So here it is. It is a little bit warmer, and I definitely would say when I'm fair that this is quite a warm bronzer. And I would say it is the shimmeriest out of all of the others. So this is definitely a shimmer bronzer. If you like to have that sort of glow, you will love this, and any of the bronzers from Kiko that are this baked formula. They are beautiful, and they do release a lot of summer collections, and then they have them on sale for a lot after summer and from the last seasons. So I did see this one in a Kiko store for like 70% off. Keep an eye out for this or any of the summer limited edition bronzers, because I'm pretty sure they're all a very similar formula. But yeah, these baked formulas are gorgeous for summer and just giving that healthy, radiant glow. I am starting to run out of space, but here is the Benefit by Hoola. So this is a classic and has been the one I have been reaching for recently with my tan, because it is just that little bit warmer. And as you can see, I have a very big pan in it. I do really like this product. It is a matte formula that is very, very soft. Like, it is so soft, and I'm really having to dig my brush into the corners now. It is a great warm tone bronzer that is kind of neutral in tone, to be honest, depending on your skin tone, but it is just a classic, and it's a classic for a reason. If you need a sort of staple bronzer that won't fail you, it is a great one. And since they expanded the shade range, it is a lot more accommodating to different skin tones now, which is amazing, because this did used to be the only shade, which is ridiculous. But yeah, it's a classic. I don't need to dwell on it a lot because you've probably already tried it or you've heard a lot of people talk about it. I do have the Morphe Glamabronze Face and Body Bronzers in 2 shades, so I'm pretty sure this is the packaging that is out currently and is their like permanent line, whereas this was a limited edition that came out before this one. These are quite big pans. I do have the shade Mastermind and Icon, so Mastermind is a lot fairer than Icon. These are very pigmented, and that's what helps when you're applying them on your body, because you want something that you can just pile on your brush and chuck on. So these are great to go if you love a pigmented bronzer and you're quite well versed in how to use bronzer and build it up. These will be a bit intimidating if you're new to bronzer, because you will probably look very muddy if you just go straight in with these. But if you know how to use a bronzer, these are great, and I do really like them for their quality and pan size. If I give you an example, like here's the Hoola next to it. But yeah, I do really like this one, especially for sometimes bronzing my neck and chest, because it's so big. I do just get a big brush and just stamp in there and go around my neck if I need to try and make a foundation match sometimes when I'm fair. We're just gonna have to do this. As you can see, there is quite a difference in shades. I'm not sure if there is one in between, but yep, this is Mastermind and this is Icon. Great summer shade for me, or a fake tan shade, and this is a great winter shade. They are pretty much matte. They might have the slightest sheen in them, but yeah. Out of all these products, looking at them overall, I might say that the Vive deeper shade of their palette is the deepest one, and my Huda Beauty GloWish one I think is the lightest. Or no, it was the Dior one. The Dior one I think think is the lightest. So do take that in mind if you buy any of these and you want to compare the shades. I have just re-swatched Fenty Butta Biscuit on my arm because I'm going to do some cream bronzers now. Okay, so the Rare Beauty Happy Soul bronzer stick. This is amazing. I don't really have any bronzer sticks, as you can see here. This is my only one. The ease of this is amazing, and the formula is beautiful and so easy to work with. It is sort of a soft matte finish when you usually blend it out. I find just going with a fluffy angled brush, once you sort of stripe this where you want it, it just blends out so seamlessly and easy, and it doesn't mess with your base. It is creamy, but somehow does give that sort of powdery, healthy finish that makes it last. I always had in my mind that stick products could be very thick and just muddy looking, but this is just beautiful in comparison to Butta Biscuit. Sorry, it's not the cleanest one. It is a bit warmer, I would say, and this isn't the warmest one. This is the one that I would say is neutral. There is a shade lighter than it in sort of its lineup, but that is even warmer. It's a great shade. And if I show you it, if I like how easy it sort of blends out. Do bear in mind, cream products will always look more intense when swatched like this. They will always come out a little bit lighter because obviously you blend them out. It's a really good formula, and I just have been loving it for quick, easy makeup and just chucking it on. The Saie Sun Melt Natural Cream Bronzer in light bronze is quite new to me. I did do a video on it recently, but as you can see, I have been kind of denting it because I have been really loving it. It is creamy and a bit moussey, I would say. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it actually. It's kind of moussey. It just is very easy to blend. It is lovely and pigmented, but it does have this sort of slip to it that makes it just so easy to apply and blend out seamlessly. So that's light bronze. I would say it's the warmest. This is quite a good comparison. So I think Butta Biscuit is the coolest. The Rare Beauty one is a good in between, a bit neutral maybe, and this one is quite warm. This has been lovely in summer. It's just been a great one to throw on as well. It does blend out quite easily. I would use a dense brush with this one, like I said about the Fenty cream one, whereas the Rare Beauty one I would then use a fluffy brush. It's because of how it sets down. It doesn't set to a powder. You do want to use a dense brush or maybe a stippling brush, but normally with really sort of lightweight, thin, slippy products, I like to use a dense brush. And for the ones in between is when I'll use a stippling brush, and ones that have a powder finish like the Rare Beauty is when I will use sort of a very fluffy brush like that I would use for a powder. Okay, I thought I'd do this one next because I think it is very comparable to the Saie one. Probably not comparable shade wise, I do just have a different shade. It might just be a little bit less mousse-like and more slippy. They do have the same very liquid feeling sort of finish. This one is lighter and I would say more warm golden than sort of terracotta red that these kind of look. It is slippy, very easy to blend. I would use a dense brush. These are all super pigmented, as you can see. I hope you get what I mean when I say slippy, but it just looks, it's very wet, which is definitely something you don't want to use over powder products because it will just look like a congealed mess. So these two are very comparable in their wetness. I would just say the Saie one is a little bit moussier. This is great for chucking all over your neck if you do need to make your neck match. Because it's so thin, it's very easy to spread over large areas. Oh yeah, and it is very affordable in comparison to the other ones I've shown. On the topic of affordability, I've got the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer in tan lines. So I think this is the coolest shade probably out of all of them, and it is a tiny tub in comparison. So this one I would say is a very different formula to the other ones I have just shown. When sticking your finger in, it does feel sort of creamy, but when you blend it out, it does have that sort of powdery finish that comes from it, similar to the Rare Beauty stick. It is a bit of a learning curve to apply. And as you can see, I do think it's not as color payoff. I'm having to sort of build it up, but it is turning into a matte finish, as you can see. So it is a little bit different, which is fun. So it has sort of a velvet matte finish. Great if you do like matte skin and you don't like your skin to be too dewy, but you want to give cream bronzers a go. Great one. Just a bit finicky to apply because of its change in formula. Like that doesn't feel like a cream at all. To be honest, it stopped blending. Oh no, it is blending. It's just blending blending to nothing. So you want to be careful with it because as it sets to a powder, putting the cream back on top can sort of mess with it a bit. So there is a lot of tips I've seen online, people using this, but I would sort of recommend swiping it on your face, putting it down like you would with a stick, and then going in with a fluffy brush to blend it out. Sponges don't seem to work for me, they sort of pick it up. Dense brushes seem to apply the cream into the powder and then they look like a bit of a mess. Maybe stick your finger in, warm it up and place it on your cheeks and forehead where you want to, and then take a fluffy brush and blend over them. And that is also my recommendation for the blushes of this formula as well. Actually, there is one brush that I do think works really nicely with this, and that is the Putty brush from e.l.f. as well. They do apply these really nice, and the brush is quite little and fits perfectly in the pots. These are very travel friendly and affordable, so if you do think it's something you're interested in, it's not going to break the bank to give it a go. Shade wise, it is the lightest I would say of all of them. Definitely you can see that matte finish now. It's a bit of a golden neutral in comparison. I have ended up going deepest to lightest, I think, but yeah, it's an interesting one. Okay, so next is the Refi cream bronzer. I'm just going to guess this is in Sand. So this is their lightest shade. I can't get it open. So here it is. It's quite warm, I would say, and it is very slippy, like the Soul one from Colourpop. As you can see. To be honest, I would say it's very comparable to that Colourpop one. Even the shade, I would put them as dupes, to be honest. They're very comparable. This, however, I do think just gives you a little bit more of a glow than the Colourpop one. It just stays that bit dewier on your skin, gives you a little bit more of a summer skin effect. Yeah, so that's Sand, and that is the lightest shade. Obviously, it doesn't look like that when you've blended it out, but yeah, it's a good option. But if you do like the idea of that formula, I would actually recommend trying the Soul one first because they are so comparable and it is a bit cheaper, I think. Last but not least, one of my favorite bronzers ever, the Chanel Le Beige Healthy Glow Bronzing Cream. This is just in Soleil Tan Bronze Universal. As you can see, this is a bronzer I really love. There is basically most of it is gone. It is a really nice healthy shade for me. Some people find it too orange, but on me it is very flattering. I like to take a big stippling brush in this and just swirl about. It is different to all of these other ones I have just shown you. A moussey cream, I'd say. Way more moussey though than the Saie one. So it just looks very smooth and buttery on your skin. It's hard. I would say it is a bit of a soft matte. It doesn't have that same sheen as like you can see these ones have here. It just doesn't have that, but it isn't completely matte. There is a healthy glow in it and it is just very smooth and buttery and velvet feeling on your skin. So yeah, so this one is just so unique to me and it doesn't sort of set down to the powder like the e.l.f. one does. It does still stay creamy. It's a unique formula. I haven't seen anyone replicate. It is great for those trying to take a step into being a cream bronzer because it's not too shiny or greasy looking, but it just blends beautifully and does give you that healthy glow, which is fitting because it's in the name. Here it is in comparison to the shades. I would say it's a warm golden, very flattering on me, that one. It's a unique product. Okay, so here is all the swatches in the end. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to give it a like and maybe comment down below what part of my collection you'd like to see next like this, with some in-depth reviews and swatches and comparisons. This was really fun to film and I just got to sat down for like 45 minutes. I've been filming and just talk about bronzer, so that was great. So I hope you enjoyed, and I do commend you if you have watched all the way to the end. Do subscribe if you want to see more of me, and I hope to see you again in the next one. Bye!